All right, you guys, check it out. Full self-driving. It's getting really good these days. So good that they're so confident in this thing that they're launching like robo-taxis, right? You got robo-taxis in Texas and California now. Well, I use FSD quite a bit, and what I'm starting to notice now is that sometimes the cars actually, like if you tell it to navigate home, it'll actually pull into your driveway now. Now, there's multiple cars that park in my driveway, 4 altogether. That doesn't always happen in my driveway because there are other cars here or in the way or whatever. But what it will do is sometimes it'll park across the street over here, up on the curb, out of the way of the road, right? So just like you would if you're pulling in front of someone else's house, you kind of pull up on the curb a little bit, right? And so this is the same thing that happens in a grocery store, for example. When you tell the car to navigate to the grocery store, it is starting to find a parking spot and park in itself. Now, it doesn't always do this. It is hit or miss, like it is for me here at home. But it got me thinking, we should like really make a video on this and see how well the car is able to do this if we just do like a handful of different destinations. So that's what we're going to do in this video. We're going to put in several destinations into the navigation. And for the record, we're not talking about using auto park here, okay? Like when you put the destination into the navigation, it is legit bypassing auto park, and it's starting to just find a spot and park itself. And so that's what we're going to experiment with today. We're going to give it a try, and we're going to see out of like 6 or 7 attempts how many times it could actually successfully park itself into a designated parking spot. So yeah, let's get into the video and let's see how well it can actually do in this regard. I'll see you in the car. Peace. All right, you guys, so we have our destinations all set up in the navigation. We're going to do about 6 different spots. We got 2 Fry's, 2 Safeways, a Walgreens, and a Walmart, all within relatively close distance of each other. As you can see, all the little black dots on the GPS are actually the locations that we're driving to. So all within a few miles of each other. And we're going to see how the car parks itself in the parking lot of these grocery store places. And then I'm going to speed up most of the driving. FSD is still going to drive us to every location, but we're not going to bore you with that. This video is mostly about how the car parks itself once it enters into the parking lot of each destination. So in any case, we're all set. Let's go ahead and hit the road. Okay, we have our navigation all set. Let me just buckle up here. And we are ready to head to our first destination. So let's go to Fry's. And this will be really interesting to see because, again, it's like 50-50. Sometimes it does it, and sometimes it doesn't. But the nice thing is all of these locations are really close to each other, within a couple of miles. Beautiful. All right. So we're pulling into our first destination. And let's see if the car will park itself. All right. Now, when I came here last week in my last video, this was the Fry's that we came into, And so I'm pretty confident it's gonna find a parking spot at this particular location. Taking it nice and slow. Beautiful. And let's see. Whoa, what are we doing? Uh-oh. What are we doing right here? It cannot back in right here. It was really trying to back in right there. That's funny. Well, let's see what it does. All right. So you could probably tell from the rear view camera here that it was trying to park in a double yellow space. And so that it couldn't do that. But it readjusted and it found a legit parking spot. So the car's 1 for 1. Let's go ahead and navigate to our next destination. Oh, hold on. Wait, what happened to our locations? Oh, man. I have to redo this. Give me 1 second. We're going to redo this. Okay, we got our locations set back up in the navigation. So let's go ahead and navigate to our next spot, which is going to be a Safeway up the street from here. So nice clear path here, no one obstructing the car from backing up. And let's see how it does. I'm not too fond of like how it wants to exit here. Like it could have gone right there, or it could exit out right here and go up to the intersection and do a U-turn. But it wants to exit out over here on the back side of the parking lot and bust a U-turn in a little turn off right over here. So you'll see that in a second. But for a AI smart bot, you know, it just feels more natural to go that way. But hey, who am I to judge? We're just here for the excitement of the car's ability to actually park in public parking lots. All right. Got a little bit of traffic coming. So we're gonna have to wait here for a second. I'll probably speed this up so you guys don't have to wait for me. All right, it should be clear here. We're pulling out. And as you can see here, we're gonna make a U-turn. Nice little BMW going by. All right, here we go. U-turn time. Does it very nicely, very smooth. All right, we're pulling into our second destination. This is a Safeway. And I'm not too sure what it's going to do here. I've actually never had the car navigate here. So your guess is as good as mine, but let's see what happens here. Plenty of parking spaces. And what are we going to do? I thought it was about to pull into that handicap spot, but it did not. Looks like it's going to circle around maybe. All right. And what are we going to do here? All right. Ta-da. Okay, so it did park in a legit parking spot. However, it's very clear that the AI is not able to determine like 15-minute parking spots or less, handicap spots, and it pulled into like a place where you do an online order for a pickup and go. So anyways, we'll count this though. It's 2 for 2. So let's navigate to the next spot. All right, we're ready to head to spot number 3. This is going to be a Walgreens. It's kind of back up the street where we came from. So let's see what the car does over there. Should exit straight through here. Beautiful. It's got to wait for some oncoming traffic. All right, this will be interesting because it got on the inside turning lane here, but it actually needs to get over. It's probably going to beat this truck to the punch here. It's going to cheat over. I think it would have been better off if it would have just stayed in that outside turning lane, but it is what it is. It had the space to merge over to the 3 lanes. So let's see what the car does here. Are we going to back in? What are we doing? Oh, looks like I wasn't sure what's happening there. The lines aren't very clear, but it did park. I think it's a little off center, actually, but it did do it. So let's see what happens here. I'm just going to help it forward a little. Perfect. All right, so I needed to help it right there because it didn't want to put itself into park. So I tapped the brake pedal, and it seems to have helped it on the navigation here. So in my book, this works. We'll call it 3 for 3. Let's continue on to the next location. All right, so our next location is the Fry's. Let's go ahead and move forward. What happened? All right, I needed to put it in park apparently. I needed a little help there for whatever the case may be. But let's continue forward. So as you can see here from the navigation, it's going to exit here and come around and go down Kolb Road. Nice and smooth right there. All right, we got a flashing yellow, so it's probably going to just creep on out. Beautiful. All right, we're getting into the turning lane to pull into our fourth location. All right. Nice, clean, smooth turn right there. Waiting for the traffic to clear out before it pulled in. And let's see what happens here. Not too much going on in the way of pedestrians. Whoa, 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 what do we do? We cannot do this. What? I'm just gonna wait and see what the car does, because this is silly. All right, we cannot park here. That's an epic fail. That is a super duper, duper duper epic fail right there. So I took over. It pulled right in front of the entrance where that old man was picking up his wife, and he's like, "What the hell are you doing parking right in front of me?" Oh, that's hilarious. Anyways, there you go. The car's officially 3 for 4. We have 2 more locations to go to. Let's see how that does. And I'm going to actually pull off right now because I need to cut the cameras real quick. So give me a second. All right, we had a phone call that interrupted recording, so if you're noticing that the camera cut, that's why. But we're almost to our next destination. All right, we're pulling into the Walmart service Supercenter, sorry. And let's see what happens here with the car. I'm not as confident, and I'm not sure why. I'm not that confident about this one. Maybe because the parking lot is so much bigger compared to the grocery store parking lots. But let's see what happens. It's yielding for these pedestrians to cross the crosswalk. Let's see what happens. I've got a car behind me. Okay, I was about to help it move forward, but it started moving forward on its own. All right, well done. Looks like it's turning down a lane now. So let's see if it finds a parking spot. And what do you know? Whoa, and it's way off center. It's way off center. Yeah. All right, I went ahead and hit the brake right there and took over. Um, it did find a parking spot, but there's two things wrong with this. One, it's way off center, as I mentioned already. And two, you probably noticed that it pulled into a handicapped parking spot. So that's probably where they're gonna have to start working on this a little bit. It's got to be able to determine that it's a handicapped spot and that it can't park there. So I'm gonna back it out. I'm gonna go ahead and back it out. Well, actually, that was a big parking spot. It wasn't center. It was off to the left. What? Give me a second here. Let me get it set up in the navigation. All right, perfect. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and stick it in FSD. And we'll head to our last destination. So technically the car is 4 for 5 right now. We are gonna count the parking spots in the quick pickup, the online pickup parking space, as well as the handicap space. But obviously, they'll have to, fix that so the car doesn't do that in the future as they continue to improve the software. But we're going to let it ride. We're going to count it as a legit parking maneuver. So the next destination is about 5 minutes away, and we'll see you over there. All right, we're pulling into our 6th and final grocery store parking lot. And let's see how good the car does here. Wait, hold on. What's happening? All right. What are we doing? Looks like we're lost in limbo. Let me help it forward a little bit. I'm going to just push on the pedal. All right. Oh, yeah, this thing's confused. Okay, I'm going to take over. It doesn't seem to know what it wants to do right there. So we'll say that was another epic fail. All right, so there we are. Those were our 6 attempts. So as you can see, sometimes it does pretty good. And then when it fails miserably. So we'll go ahead and wrap this up, and we'll see you back at the house. All right, you guys, so we're done with our little experiment. As you can see, full self-driving is starting to actually park itself once it's reached its destination, whether that be a residence driveway or whether that be a grocery store parking lot. In this particular example, we did just grocery store parking lots. It did it 4 out of 6 times. On the 2 where it did not park itself, it botched it pretty bad. But I think it's kind of fun to kind of be involved in this evolution of this software. And I think it's fun to kind of be a part of the beginnings of self-driving cars, because I think it's coming whether or not we want it. Technology tends to change life. And so listen, in 20 or 30 years, I'll be able to talk to my grandkids about this because it'll probably be a regular thing for them. And it'll be cool to just share those stories with them and say, hey, you know, like when this thing first came about, I had one of those first cars that was out there doing it. And I think that'll be a fun time. But that's all we have for you in this video. Let me know in the comments about what you think, about what you saw. And then also in our next video, we're gonna talk a little bit about why I think you should be using cabin overheat protection. There's a lot of YouTubers out there that say, don't do it, or you shouldn't do it, or don't use it to save battery. I'm convinced that you should be doing it, especially in the desert states, and I'm gonna talk about why I think that is so. So stay tuned for that next video. Subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and you'll know when that video drops. Thanks for watching. That's all we have for you in this one. Peace.